That bite we played at the top was your most memorable moment. So, why did you pick that?
Because I don't think we realized it in the moment just how
important
and how important it was. I was following Jeb Bush most of last summer, and it took him 3 weeks to respond to it because at that point Trump had also...
Which, by the way, tells you everything you need to know about the Bush campaign.
About the Bush campaign, but it was also because at that point he had insulted his Mexican-born wife.
Right.
And it was mostly that he was responding to, and he went back. But again, nobody had picked up on it at that point. And I was in Vegas last week talking to reporters, not to reporters, to voters, and they said,
people say Freudian slip. That's what the media does. They just talk to each other. See, Sarah and Chris are going, aha, we always knew it.
They were predominantly younger Hispanic voters, and they said, you know, Trump has made some valid points over the course of this year on the economy or about change in Washington. But he's racist, and I'll never vote for him because of what he said about Mexicans.
That's the thing that smart Republicans have always understood, which is that you cannot have a conversation with minority voters unless you get the tone right first.
Right.
You can have an intelligent discussion about immigration, and you can persuade Hispanics to support. They're not a monolithic group.
Right.
But, you know, when you insult them as a group, they don't listen to anything on any other issue. That is correct.
So, Chris Kofinis, you picked a moment having to do with how he handled the judge comments in San Diego. I'll play a clip of it.
This judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. He's a member of a society where, you know, very pro-Mexico, and that's fine. It's all fine. But I think he should recuse himself.
You didn't coordinate here.
No.
And we'll have Sarah's reveal in a minute. But why did you pick that moment as a Democrat? Is it because you figure you know, he's just destroyed his chances with Latino voters with that comment?
I think it was a defining moment among a series of defining moments when it comes to Trump. I mean, general elections, in particular presidential elections, are, you know, you're trying to put demographic blocks together in order to get to that magic 50 plus 1. And here you are alienating Hispanic. He started from the top, and you were like hoping, like maybe he learned, maybe he, you know, the Republicans that were concerned about what he was doing.
About 11 months apart, by the way, from what he said in June.
And so not only did he not learn, he doubled down and defended not only the judge and his family, not only millions of Hispanics, but also I would say any reasonable person who says the idea that you're going to demonize someone for their ethnic heritage and ignore the fact that he is an American citizen, right? Born here was, I think, beyond the pale. And I think it really started to turn his campaign that was always kind of faltering, was always kind of close to falling off the cliff. It really started this last few weeks that we've seen where his campaign's been in real trouble.
More troubling for the party, the fact that he was essentially insulting the next generation of Hispanic voters, the next generation of Asian voters, because they say,
these were people born here.
Exactly. I'm a dreamer, or my parents came from China or something.
And Sarah, we asked you to pick a moment, and you ended up picking, and it's something he tweeted. Here it is. Happy Cinco de Mayo, the best taco bowl. So it's the first thing you thought of. And again, you guys didn't coordinate it, but you all picked something that had to do with him offending Hispanics.
This just goes in the category of you can't make this up. And
you thought it was an SNL skit at first.
Yeah, I mean, in presidential politics, by the time you are the party's nominee, you don't make mistakes like this. And to what I said earlier, this is a tonal problem. It also speaks to something, I think, larger about his campaign apparatus, which is, you know, we all laugh about the fact that evidently that taco bowl didn't come from Trump Tower. Some reporter realized they went and found it somewhere else, and he claimed it was...
So he made an effort to go get it.
He made an effort to go get it, and everything is fact-checked. Everything needs to be detail-oriented, and they don't run that type of operation. This is fly by the seat of your pants. This is Trump in his bedroom at night tweeting, and this is not a way to conduct a campaign on any level.
All right, that's our one-year retrospective, and I think the theme is look at who he alienated. He may have alienated the most important demographic group in politics today. We're going to take a pause. We're going to change topics after the break. Stay with us. Our race of the day is next, and you guys might have a lot to say about that one. Stay tuned. I have to say, we want to get in a little bit more into Marco Rubio. It's a high-risk move he's doing. Let's bring back the panel. Chris, Ed, Sarah. Sarah, let me start with you. As a Republican, you're probably happy he wants to get in.
Sure.
But this is risky.
It is risky for him. I mean, he is a young guy with a bright future, and if he were to get in here and lose this race, either the primary, which doesn't seem likely, but it's been a wild year.
I think they understand that him getting back in potentially scrambles their map and requires them to spend a lot more money there, so they're a little nervous about it. But all the questions we were asking about his future stand, you know, how can you justify doing this after saying you didn't like being there? The ads write themselves. And he's taken positions since running last time that are going to make it hard for him on abortion. He hasn't moved on gay issues, he hasn't moved on guns, and he hasn't moved on immigration.
You know, Chris, as a Floridian, the things, you know, he got to win the first term without having to move to the middle. He had the luxury of not having to do that, so it really helped him in the presidential primary. I thought he was in line to win. But the problem is, Florida's a swing state for a reason. There's voters all over the place, and, you know, did he put himself in a too conservative a box? Or maybe that doesn't matter because the presidential race dictates it all.
I think the biggest problem he has is, where do you run? Do you run to the right of Trump? Do you run to the center of Trump? Do you run to the left of Trump?
There's a left, right, and center with Trump?
Exactly.
Actually, you know,
so think about this.
Depends on the day.
You can run either way.
He doesn't. Where do you position yourself? Because the Democrats are going to come at them and at him, tying them together. How do you separate them? How do you separate yourself from Trump? I mean, and then when you try to, they use your words against him, both for and against. It is a trap that he cannot get out of.
This is important for his future. Running, and particularly winning, but running and running strong and coalescing the party behind him. He's got there's a deep bench of Republicans in Florida, and his desire to be governor, which is sort of the wide rumor, if he wants a future in the presidential stage, he needs to get into statewide office. Certainly there now, or at least within 2 years.
It's pretty crowded in Florida.
It's very crowded, and he has no deep
Very quickly, will the Bush family forgive Rubio? Will Jeb forgive Rubio enough to help him in the Senate race? Come on, Ed, you know this. You know those two well.
I don't know. I don't think.
Do you think Jeb's that bitter?
I don't think he's bitter. I don't think he cares.
There you go. That's the last word. Chris, Ed, and Sarah, thanks very much. We'll have a lot more MTP Daily, and actually a tiny bit more right after this, but enough for you to stick around.